Well, hello. It's time for Mutants and Masterminds Monday, your weekly program dedicated to the world's only superhero TTRPG, Mutants and Masterminds. Chat, can you hear me? Do let me know, because you've been chatting away on the subject of the day. For some time now, a topic brought to you by none other than Tempo. Temporary 67315. And I'll be honest with you, I was flummoxed. Hey, Paul. Devious, good to see you.
It's been long enough that it's almost permanent, 67315.
I know, I think that it's, yeah, exactly. Raymond says, we can hear you. Good. You have no doubt also heard the voices of two of my favorite human beings on this or any other Earth. It's Alex and Steve. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you feeling today?
Doing all right.
I feel like the flying gay spaghetti monster.
Yeah. We've got some surreal gay spaghetti kind of wiggling about in the background.
Appendage.
Yeah, exactly. And
Also, all hail Jimothy.
All hail Jimothy. I'm currently noodling over a meme for Jimothy for us. I'm not quite sure I'm there yet, but I'm going to share it with
We
Tina
love a raccoon shaped like a Volkswagen Beetle.
Yeah, right? or you know, he's almost cube-like, almost like a dice, a six-sided dice,
or a bouillon cube to go with gravy squatch.
Hey, Curly Insane guys in chat. A bouillon cube. Exactly.
No one ever remembers Bouillon Boy, Gravy Squatch's very short-lived sidekick.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you know, what do you do?
Sort of
when
melted away into the ether.
I was going to say, when you have to go out into the rain to deal with anything.
Right.
Your poor little bouillon cube pal is not long. Basically soup. Okay, so I'm going to be honest. The surrealism topic kind of threw me. I was like, what and why and who?
It's what surrealism does.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, it turns out now this, as I mentioned before, this was Tempo's idea and given to us during our big, you know, holiday that comes every 3 months, which is a planning episode.
Yes.
And because we're doing this event, because we're covering this topic, that means that Tempo gets a real life hero point that you can use in any way that you see fit. We just ask that you not use it against us. Hey, David Bullock's here too. Lovely to see. Bouillon Boy and Gravy Squatch. I like that. Bouillon Boy and the Gravy Squatch Revenge Squad. I'll have to think about that. Nate, good to see you. Edward's here too. Boy, we've got a full house.
Right.
And so I spend a little time on Sundays hanging out with Devious, and we kind of just talk about all the things that are going on. And it really helped me through the conversation realize that there's kind of a long and storied history of surrealism in comic books. Do you guys want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, drugs were cheap in the 60s.
Right. Although, curiously enough, I don't think that nearly as many comics creators were high as we think. I think it might have just been sort of a cultural thing. But to be sure, comics are pretty surreal. I mean, just to begin with.
Yeah.
And especially when comics were, largely entertainment for kids. They, didn't really necessarily have to make a lot of sense, Yeah,
true. Yeah.
So, as time went on, I think that a lot of the comic art, of the time was also very influenced by a lot of psychedelic. You rude guy.
Sorry, I couldn't help it. Can't believe I missed it. Sorry, Paul.
Um, a lot of comic art was influenced by a lot of psychedelic stuff. Um, and so you get a lot of really wacky, just images, ideas, off the wall stuff in the comics, especially when you're, producing, 20 some comic pages a month. Not all of it is great art. Some of it is just
Right.
a
Or even
wacky
good
idea that you
idea.
threw at the
Yeah.
wall to see if it would stick.
Hoping that you can, fill the content gap, and that makes sense to me
Yeah.
a lot. I'm also, there. This is more of a modern, I think, anyway. So it says 1990s was about when the Doom Patrol came around, but I'm out of the loop on this.
Well, that's not quite true. The
Okay.
original Doom Patrol appeared in the 60s, where in
Oh.
fact they were called the strangest heroes of all.
Oh.
Um, and were largely made up of a bunch of sort of freakish weirdos, who were banded together to fight equally weird bad guys. And there was a revival of the Doom Patrol in the 90s by a then up and coming comics writer named Grant Morrison, who had kind of made their name doing weirdly surrealistic comics, including the revival of DC's Animal Man, which featured a lengthy arc comparing Wile E. Coyote to Christ.
Oh
Um,
boy.
because he died for your sins. Um,
Of
and
course.
Where does that put
also
the Roadrunner in the cosmology of the universe?
and also
Yeah.
working on the Doom Patrol. In fact, there's an Animal Man issue where Animal Man meets Grant Morrison, and gets to talk to them about things. And there's a line where Animal Man picks up a comic and says, "Hey, you write Doom Patrol too?" And Morrison is like, "Yes, but they don't know."
I love that. Now, I'm thinking about now, Alex, you tend to kind of play around with some of the absurd or some of the, surreal elements of storytelling in the work that you do as a GM, right?
Yeah, I get weird.
Yeah. You like to get weird.
Weird.
Talk a little bit. I mean,
Um,
are you influenced by surrealism or the comics past history, or you just like to make things weird just naturally?
um, I'm sure there is definitely influence. My dad, in particular, was very big on a lot of trippy aesthetics because he did a lot of acid when I was a kid. Um,
Okay.
and he did a lot of he was that kind of guy who was like, look at the neat painting on the side of my van I don't own, and here's all the fun weird things that we can expand our minds into.
Yeah.
So, and I think dealing with sort of the liminal space that gaming is, there's so much opportunity to delve into what makes it fun for play. Like we can explore ideas in a safe place, and we can get a little weird and we can get a little fun because we're just trying to blow off some steam. Um, I think I like trippy visuals. I like absurd juxtapositions. I'm a big fan of introducing sort of like, I call it kind of blue collar surrealism, where
Mhm.
like I'll have robots who have unions and take mandated lunches and
Sure.
deal with
Yeah.
sort
Right.
of like the weird engagements we get into as people one on one. That's another couple of big things that I really like. I love using an imp, especially reality bending imps like Quirk in Earth Prime. Um,
Great for surrealistic scenarios.
yeah, I've run a scenario where I took away the letter M.
Oh, you did. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've also had the source book show up, which I just made, the Mutants Masterminds 3rd Edition Deluxe Heroes Handbook, and they accidentally destroyed the page that had magic on it for all my magic superheroes. So we went to Steve's house in game to
Oh,
ask him
that's
for another book.
right.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah, I love that. That unexpected moment. That where are we possibly going with this sort of reality bending, fourth wall obliterating?
Mhm.
But what's kind of cool about the notion of introducing these surreal elements to Mutants and Masterminds is that Mutants and Masterminds can handle it.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. You can kind of break the the laws of physics, and Mutants Mastermind still has a way to kind of keep it from breaking the actual game itself,
Hmm. Yeah.
which is interesting. I'm
Well,
curious, chat, real quick. Question for chat while we continue to talk about this. I'm
yeah.
wondering, talk to me about your elements of surrealism that you've included, and also for me, just because I'm personally curious, your personal motivation for incorporating some surrealism and sort of why you did it. Was it about surprise and delight? Was it about washing away some burnout, or was it what was going on that made you turn to surrealism as a fun way to entertain? But yeah, I'm sorry, Steve, I interrupted you.
No, no worries. So the notion of breaking the fourth wall is also a big, often sort of surrealistic element, and it's become a popular trope in some comics, where comics get very self-referential, or
Hmm.
they get very self-aware, and you have characters like the recent arc with Superboy Prime in Superman, of a character who is essentially aware they're a character in a comic book, and that everybody else are characters in comic books, and that all the tropes in comic books are in play, and all of that. And that can be an interesting sort of meta commentary to play around with a group of gamers, because when you're playing a role playing game, you have that additional level of remove between the characters and the players, and you can play around with a certain amount of that sort of fourth wall breaking stuff and that metagaming element of, are the characters aware that they're characters in a game, and to what degree do the players knowing the tropes of the game affect the way things go.
Yeah, yeah. If you two were to create a reading list of surreal comic moments, or even just sort of out of comics genre superhero stuff, what would that look like?
Well, there's obviously the aforementioned Doom Patrol comics,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and I'd say a
yeah.
lot of Grant Morrison's other early comics work, like Animal
Hmm.
Man and the like. Um,
Yeah. I'd even include like Arkham Asylum, A Serious House.
mhm,
Um, I
yeah,
know Neil Gaiman's really horrible, but Sandman was a big deal for me for surrealism. Um,
yeah,
Sort of the absurdity and the weird dreamlike qualities.
yep.
I also like Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Oh,
Uh,
sure. Yeah.
Morrison's Seven Soldiers of Victory is a very surrealistic series, and I defy you to actually make sense of it, um, so far as that goes. I will definitely agree with the suggestion Raymond Stegman raises, is you should watch a lot of Looney Tunes,
Mhm.
and the Animaniacs and Freakazoid, which are all animated series that are really great with surrealism, so far as it goes.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. It's interesting, taking a walk through everybody's sort of lists, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, surrealism has been here all the
Oh yeah,
time.
indeed.
Like all I had to do was click my heels 3 times, together, and grow an eyeball for
And
a head.
there's a
Uh,
pretty fine line between surrealism and horror comics and genre.
yeah,
Sometimes a lot of horror will use the surreal to sort of horrific effect,
yeah, yeah.
that
Make
sort of
things
sense of
unsettling.
unreality, and so you can often find a lot of crossover there. Like the Backrooms is very
Oh yeah.
surreal in a lot of ways, but is also largely a horror story.
Now, was Swamp Thing, as a comic, was did that they kind of dabbled in more of a horror kind
Swamp
of?
Thing raises that example. A lot of Swamp Thing stuff was a little more horror tinge, but there was certainly a
Yeah,
surrealistic element to it. Um, I do agree with a lot of the 70s comics, particularly stuff like Steve Gerber's Defenders, and Doctor Strange is very trippy,
yeah.
and has a lot of surreal elements to it.
I love this. Christopher Christopher McLaughlin says, "Weird and absurd." You say? Stop me if you've heard this. Stop me if you've heard this one. A team of superpowered apes from a planet where apes evolved from man.
Right?
That's the other thing I love, is to be able to kind of retell things that you know or are comfortable or familiar with. You know, whether that's Planet of the Apes or what have you, and to be able to kind of remake and remold it into some other experience, and calling on everyone's shared experiences and then turning it on its head is fun to be a part of and fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
love that.
absolutely agree.
Now, I'm not familiar with Fletcher Hanks.
Nor am I off the top of my head.
Okay. Paul, you're going to have to let us know a little bit more about that. I'm unfamiliar. But, you know, yesterday is when I learned about, we were talking about, what's his name? The Grant Morrison and Doom Patrol. And Danny the Street took me a lot of time to wrap my head around. And to know that there's a live action is just, I mean, I've got to see this. I mean, do they do a good job of bringing Danny the Street to life?
Actually do, yeah, I've got to say.
Really?
Yeah.
That's great.
So
I'll have to check
for
it
the
out.
uninitiated, very briefly,
Yeah.
Danny the Street is a sentient, world-spanning street who is also essentially a drag queen, because Danny has all of these traditionally masculine venues like gun shops and the like that are all decked out in very feminine curtains and doilies and pastels and the like. And Danny is also home to a magical cabaret. And it's basically the place where a lot of the weirdos and outcasts find their home. They wander one night onto Danny, and the street whisks them away. And yes, and they become known as the Denizens. And it is just this this wild, outlandish metaphor, you know, for subculture society.
Yeah.
You know, as far as that goes, it's a really fun character, location, both.
Right.
And it was, in fact, named after a drag performer named Danny LaRue, who was very well known in the UK during Grant Morrison's childhood.
Interesting. I'm going to have to check it out because I'm hearing everybody in chat as well as just sort of talking. And becomes Danny the Planet lately. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
But
I have
I
have a Titan City supervillain who is a tower.
Mm-hmm.
He turned himself into a building to get away from getting murdered during the Wizard Purge, and he couldn't figure out how to turn himself back.
Right.
I love that.
And do people get to move in, or does the tower not get visitors?
People get to be there. They don't move in. They get imprisoned.
Oh, they don't get to stay?
Yeah.
Or they
not by
get
choice.
to stay forever?
Yeah, you can check it anytime you like.
I love that. You know, and so thinking about running a surreal game, and you know, is there a right moment, or is there, you know, how I'm really curious about, you know, sort of answering how we want to answer the question, why run a surreal game? Like, you know, what is the appeal, and when should you do it, or is it just, does it matter and just have some fun?
Well, I think one thing about surreal games is it just gives you the opportunity to do something that's really off the wall and not so serious. And it can be a real change of pace.
Yeah, definitely. I think it frees, it sets you free as a game master to not necessarily be 100% like detail oriented and very serious all the time. It gives you some freedom to be like, yeah, that's weird because it's weird.
Yep.
Which is it's always a freeing feeling.
And although the superhero genre is often very freewheeling, I will be the first to admit that Mutants and Masterminds has a lot of guidelines and a lot of game systems. And sometimes folks can get a little bogged down in the notion of the mechanics and lose a little of the wonder of the genre. So sometimes it's okay to just throw the mechanics out the window. Or when somebody says, "Well, how does that work in the game?" You're just like, "It just does."
Yeah, it's working. Yeah,
You
right.
don't
Yeah.
have to have a system for everything, which is why things like Power Level X, characters like Quirk, exist. Because sometimes the game master just wants to be able to do stuff and not have to explain themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I just
I
remembered
like
I
that.
ran a Young Justice game where they wound up in an infomercial where Bruce Wayne was selling like acne medicine and they had to fight the zits on his face. It was terrible.
I would
Oh, that
imagine.
is so. Yeah, it
And
does sound horrible.
it was
Nightmare
really
come to
cool.
life.
Yeah, one of the players was an artist and he had sticker paper and he drew a sticker of one of the zit monsters while we were sitting there. And I don't have it with me; it's at home. I'm at my mom's watching her dog today. But those are
Got you. Hey, shout out to the Void Watches sliding in on
Welcome.
their socks. And Doc Void, I know the feel. Time blindness is a thing, but we're glad you made it. Surreal or no? Let's
I will
see.
say,
Jeff
surreal
Lamont.
doesn't always necessarily have to mean silly. There is a lot
No.
of surreal stuff that is just kind of hard to wrap your mind around. I'm really inspired by the Remedy verse with games like Alan Wake and Control and things like that that have some of that weird bureaucracy mixed up with the supernatural, mixed up with eldritch horror stuff.
Sure.
So there's a lot.
I mean,
surreal is kind of a big bucket.
You want to take one example of classic surreal is The Prisoner TV series. Extremely surreal, but also kind of conspiracy horror in a lot of ways. And you can get a lot of mileage out of the notion that surreal can also be very disturbing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the idea of sometimes in surreal horror there is the kind of unknowable, touching the face of the horrible and huge and larger than you and larger than your concept of life and time. All of that stuff. But there is also just the surreal moment of that's not necessarily, you may be distressed or sort of off put or kind of boggled by the elements of surrealness that doesn't necessarily touch on horror, right, Alex? I mean, that's kind of what you were saying, this sort of so that's interesting. I had not really thought about the various sort of emotional phases of
you can
surrealism.
definitely have a long what sort of moment in a surreal scenario, especially if you hit the players with something that's just really, really out of left field.
Yeah, there's a monster in Titan City called the Polite Devourer who's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna eat that real quick. Just let me get out of your way. Excuse me, can I have that?"
You're not gonna finish that, are you?
Yep. I'm just gonna scooch by you on the way to the ranch dressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at some of the chat, of course, is absolutely going bonks. And so I encourage folks who are listening or watching on demand to stop by the chat to kind of see both a list of great places to go find your surrealism if you're looking for some, and also just other ideas and sort of.
Damaged Glass has mentioned musical episodes, which I have done many of those in my time for another
you really have
touch on the surreal. And that's surreal both from a story perspective and a gameplay perspective, because the players show up and they interface with the game in a way that's not normal for the way they usually play.
Right.
So I think there's a fun opportunity to physically add to the surrealism by making the players do things outside of rolling dice.
And
yeah, we talked about that. That was the idea that there being a you got to solve a puzzle that's in front of you that's not in the game world to or sing.
One of the key elements of using surrealism is often to challenge the players to figure out what is going on in order to play along with the new set of rules. Because often surrealism isn't just about just chaotic randomness. It's about this is a different set of rules than you're used to. And instead of following the regular rules of superhero stories, now, of course, it's a musical, or now it's a final girl horror scenario, or whatever have you, and you have to figure out how to play along. What are the rules you should be following in order to solve this scenario? Uh,
I like that. So, oh, go
well,
ahead,
you see
please.
that, for example, to use Agatha All Along as an example.
Oh, yeah.
Each of the
Mhm.
episodes is a different genre, and the characters, to some degree, have to figure out what genre they're in, and what it is, therefore, they're supposed to do in order to get out of it.
Like that. Another show that I need to see. I have not had a chance to see that yet, but and I do love the idea of creating a rule as immutable as gravity and applying it to an entire adventure is really fun. Doc Boyd brings up the Outliers. I'm curious as to what other sort of Mutants and Masterminds based surreal elements there are, because we've talked about Toon before. It was a
Mhm.
Toon.
Yep,
Yeah,
Toon.
Yeah.
there's the Toon Gang, and Toon, the producer.
Yeah, the kind of
and
manic AI
Yep.
producer. Yeah.
We've definitely got, Quirk, our resident interdimensional imp, and other, sort of power level X characters who are troublemakers. Um, there's sanity bending dimensions, and alternate realities. And of course, folks have mentioned that dreams and mindscapes are often very surreal,
Mhm.
and tend to be the great places to set sort of surreal adventures, where the characters are delving into someone's mind, or they are in the realm of the universal unconscious, with all of these sort of surrealistic symbols and elements to it.
Yeah, people brought up
Yeah.
the Into the Idiot Box adventure as a very surreal adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could
Right.
run it
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
of the box that way without ever making any modifications, or you could be nuts like me and add like 5 more TV shows that are
Right.
insane. Like I did a Bob Ross segment where I took an actual like Bob Ross narration and I read it to the players and made them paint on like a shared online painting app as part of the challenges of the
Oh, that's
adventure.
great. I
Um,
love that. I love that.
yeah, and
Nate asks, oh, sorry, go ahead.
oh, just like and finding ways again that are not just let's punch our way through this problem, but let's weird our way through this problem. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the shows I came up with was The Bachelor mixed with Survivor, and Arctic Fox was The Bachelor.
Of course. That's
Yeah.
great. I love
Yeah.
that. We mentioned one of someone earlier in the show mentioned Planet of the Apes. Absolutely, that's a type of surrealism, right?
Mhm.
I mean, the new rule is it's apes.
Yeah.
It ain't people.
I
Yeah.
think that some of it is about how the weirdness interacts with characters. I
Mm,
think the most surreal stuff are the things that make you sort of question reality.
Mhm.
yeah.
Nate brings up the Matrix as I think that's a great example.
Oh,
Especially
sure.
early
Yeah.
on before they establish what's going on. There's a lot of like, what is this? Am I crazy? Am I hallucinating? Is this real?
Yeah.
You know, um, and I think that is especially it's about that intrusion of weirdness into the real, or the normal, where it's like that doesn't seem right. That seems off.
Mhm.
Right.
I
Right.
think it works best too when the surreal elements are just played straight with each other,
Yes,
and the players are the ones that are like the players are the only ones who have a reaction to what's going on because it's normal to the surreal entities. The surrealness is.
right.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that. The absurdity, the, impossibility of it all being normal to people,
Yeah.
to the, denizens of
It's
whatever.
kind of like the
Yeah.
Mad
What
Hatter's
about
Tea
Judge?
Party, where everybody else is like,
This is normal.
I was
"We're all mad
just gonna,
here."
yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
that's right. Yeah. Michael in chat brings up Alice in Wonderland as a great
Yeah, Alice in
example.
Wonderland is a
Yeah,
very
for sure.
surreal story.
Then this one, Professor Perch brings up Judge Dredd 2000 AD as a example of how surrealism can blend into satire and horror.
Yeah,
And I'm not familiar.
I would
I'm sort of
I would
familiar,
tend
but
to call Judge Dredd more satire than surreal.
Mhm.
okay.
I think that it definitely makes a lot of very pointed commentary about things,
Yeah.
about the notions of things like justice and police brutality, and the notion of the police as heroes and the like. I don't think that it's, in my opinion, I don't think it's as much surreal as it is very biting satire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There are a few moments where, like, I'm recalling, from the movie.
Mhm.
Frankly, I'm not really into my Judge Dredd lore is a little or Judge Dredd lore is a little lacking. But when just at a normal meeting, someone who shouldn't be shot is just kind of killed and gets their head blown off or something. I mean I can see how it's not.
Yeah.
It might not be for all folks to fit the definition of surreal.
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Likewise,
Sorry,
I think that Watchmen falls very much into that category of it's very about deconstructing the superhero myth, and it's very satirical in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I don't find Watchmen especially surreal. I mean, parts of it are weird, but are not necessarily surreal.
Well, so transitioning into more of a conversation about application and sort of, what are some of the things that you can do? And we talked about sort of out of game elements, and this just kind of cracks me up a little bit. Surrealism dice. That's fun. I mean, there's so many weird dice out there in the world that you can suddenly replace everyone's D20 with, banana dice or whatever.
Yeah, there's some really cool RPGs that use tarot decks and the like too, where you have to sort of interpret. Yeah, you have to intuit what happens based on the card you draw.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mechanics like that use just symbols, especially abstract images, and basically you have to interpret what that means in the context, and that can be a very interesting game mechanic.
I dig it. What are some other tricks? And I think Alex, you brought up there being a whiteboard of some kind or a code drawing space or something where people had to kind of work together. Mm-hmm. Was that a digital moment?
Yeah, it was a there's it was an online paint room where it was like Microsoft Paint, but everybody could log into the same picture and draw it together.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Who, Alex? No.
It's funny.
Yeah, I can't imagine why.
If you talk to Arctic Fox, he has a bit of an obsession with Alex too, honestly.
Whoa. Yeah. Interesting.
I don't want to say we're dating or anything, but
right.
He doesn't want to put labels on him.
I don't really think you need to label it.
No, I don't think you do either. Just go along for the ride. Have fun. So let's see.
Very cold.
So
nice.
I'm trying to think. You're right. I imagine. So when we're looking at other things that we can deploy or do, the good news is we've got a little special treat for everyone that we'll share a little closer to the end of the program that Steve has created for you, which is just fantastic. But I'm wondering too, as a GM, what are some of the in-game mechanics or things that you can create or use or rules that you can suspend or, mechanically, how can Mutants and Masterminds be sort of augmented to serve your purposes?
I think that you really need to lean into hero points and especially the ability to edit the scene a lot in surrealistic scenarios. Give over a lot of ability for the players to mess with things in that regard, and give them lots of opportunities to either earn hero points to do that or to do things that essentially grant them the same kind of advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking about just effects in the world and how you can, sort of just reskin them and just kind of change them up as a way of sort of surprising people as, when maybe they find out about the surreal element when they utilize, a power or a...
Yeah, there's a lot of, like Steve said, plot complications where the GM just intervenes and says, this doesn't work the way that you think it works. Boom.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to do much with the mechanics to have a surreal story.
I agree.
Oh, yeah, great.
Speaking of Toon, we recently, in the second season of Guardians of Haven that we just did, she dropped everybody into basically like a game show that had different mini games that a lot of them played as a traditional Mutants and Masterminds experience. They were just in a strange environment or there was one game where everybody got stuck in a pool ball and they had to be the last pool ball on the billiard table. So they could use their powers to knock each other into pockets, or they could try to position themselves so the giant pool players would hit their pool, hit their enemies and things like that. Where that was a surreal situation, but it wasn't necessarily surreal gameplay. It was still, I'm going to attack, I'm going to move object, I'm going to do things like that to set things up.
I love that.
Yeah, or there was a murder mystery that was a locked mystery situation where they had to roam around this weird clue style mansion looking for clues to solve the mystery, where the surrealism was in the tasks that they were asked to accomplish, not necessarily the things I was asking them to roll.
Got it. Yeah. Got you. Would it be possible?
That was really fun because there was a bunch of NPCs they could talk to, and all of their names were their job on the show, like craft services and director of photography, and like script supervisor. So they got to they could interact with those people based on what they knew what their role was on the show.
Did they get to meet the best boy?
They did get to meet the best boy, Grip.
Yeah, what does Grip do? What does the Grip do? But that has a sort of feeling of a bit of a Game Changers from Dropout, where the rules are kind of different, but you're kind of interacting with reality and sort of not. You're trying to figure out how the game plays, and that's really fun. And I can see how it really could contribute to a fun sort of figuring stuff out. Would it be possible, or do you think that it would be too disruptive or sort of I guess violating sort of the autonomy of a hero that's been created by a player if the complications were suddenly changed, or they got a temporary complication that was somehow feeding the surrealness of the moment? Or
no. I like to open it up as a bargain to be like, hey, are you interested in a temporary complication for this scene that will make the story move better? And a lot of players are conditioned to be like, oh yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I like that.
One thing I think that you can take a certain amount of advantage, speaking of those complications, you can take a certain amount of advantage of as the game master, is that because you are your player's senses, essentially, this is not something you should do a lot, but it is also very, very easy to lie to them. And to do the surreal thing, like introduce a character in a scenario, and have the characters have a series of normal and fairly mundane interactions, and then have somebody point out towards the end, who are you talking to? What do you mean? I'm talking to that guy. What guy?
I love that. I love that.
That is awesome.
I was thinking of that, Steve. That inspired me, this notion of what is normal and what is the sort of thing, and I could imagine the chaos that could ensue if you just introduced a hero that's been here the whole time that no one ever knew.
If you also want to play that, you can also do the that's harder to play straight, but you can pull it off if you're really dedicated to the bit.
Absolutely.
Of just saying, what do you mean? That character's always been here.
This is
man.
Yeah.
Or the vice versa, the Sentry effect, where the player, where the character was there and then they don't exist anymore.
Right. Why doesn't anyone remember me?
Yeah. I was also thinking of the notion of just in general absurd, surreal powers, and how you could really turn things on its ear. I was imagining there's a lot of heroes with kind of sonic powers, or sort of, using blast concussive noise and that kind of thing. And I just thought about, what if the hero's power was to yell across distances and tell your secrets? Expose you or in some way, and that you're just, and how would you even stop something like that, or what would you need to do? It brings up some interesting moments.
You could also, and this verges from surrealism into a little bit of horror, but you could also do, the occasional nightmare scenario. And again, this depends on how well you can play it, of, introducing a scenario where something really, really terrible happens. And then, no, it wasn't real.
Right.
But it has to be
you
that.
You could probably get away with that once. Make it count.
I was just going to say, but be careful that you don't completely destroy your player's trust in all people. You don't want to do that.
I'm
Which it does sort
wondering
of
how
help to
long I
have.
could get away with the Truman Show thing with my character.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
And also
And again,
if you're not, yeah, go ahead.
it's how you play it. If you do it well, you can do a scenario, and this ideally like after you've been running a game for a while, where the players start to look back and question everything. Where the
Yeah,
scenario
yeah,
comes up and it's just like, has anything been real? Like, has this whole campaign been
right.
a lie? Um,
And that's a fun
and yeah, and if you can
twist
get
if
your
you're,
players to do
yeah.
that, you have definitely reached a next level in game mastering.
Michael and Chad, I don't think anyone here can play anything
Well,
straight with
that's
all these J
fair.
noodles
I've
everywhere.
never been
No
able to
way.
play anything
Yeah.
straight.
Yeah, you actually, Paul mentions the behind the scenes episodes of Game Changer, which I think is really instructional,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, if you want to look at how to architect the bit so that it has enough play that it's enjoyable, but enough mystery that you've really got to seek and search and kind of figure it out. I highly recommend watching Game Changer. It's just delightful, and everything they do on Dropout
Yeah.
is flawless. But let's see. Let's see. Daniel, is it? It's Daniel Amar. Daniel, I'm so sorry. I'm butchering your name. We're just going to call you Dan.
Right.
One of my players is a character who's basically a Soviet Captain America, just unfrozen. My player wants him as a genuine idealistic socialist. He calls every villain capitalist pig.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the villains are, so.
Pretty much, right? Yeah.
That was the evil the whole time.
Right. That's great. That is super fun. Desmond mentions I almost did something similar yesterday with Alex in my game, but didn't get the chance.
Yeah, that was also
Interesting.
a really nice, subtle, surreal story, and it was a really nice sort of character focused drama. We went to a birthday party for one of the characters, and weird things
Yeah.
happened throughout the day, and we had to investigate sort of what's going on without it being like a big knockout, drag out fight sort of situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting. I love that. And I do think that there's a lot of fun to be had there. And whether you do it in sort of a prescribed, like, hey, everybody, we're entering surreal time, or it's part of a longer plot, that's fun. I want to go to
Right.
there. Sounds like a good time.
I do think it's important to establish up front, is the surreal going to be something we engage with often, or is it going to be sort of like a palate cleansing? Like,
right.
Here's an occasional weird thing that we're going to get into.
Yeah. I really thought about that as the palate cleansing tactic, just a way to sort of reboot or reset.
It makes for
smart.
a great change of pace sort of story.
Yeah. I try to let my players know in advance that I'm sorry, weird things are probably going to happen, just because that's how my improvised brain works when I have to make up things on the fly.
Weird is my go-to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Very fun. So let's see. I'm consulting our. Oh yeah. Okay, so shoot, I was like, I've got like 5 or 6 more topics I want to bring up, but unfortunately, we are looking about 15 minutes. What I'm curious about is resources and other things within the M&M space. So we mentioned a few of them, but like Cosmic Handbook feels like it kind of comes into play.
Yeah, to a certain degree. There's
Yeah.
some elements of that, particularly the really like super high power level X characters have a lot of surreal potential to them in one form or another.
Yeah. What are some other resources that folks can look to?
The Supernatural Handbook feels like a even better place to go.
Yeah.
If you want like spooky surreal.
Spooky surrealism, certainly.
Yeah.
I think one thing, and it's not necessarily an M&M specific resource for folks to think about, is just the time-honored game tradition of randomly rolling things.
Yes.
There are a huge number of random tables for nearly everything out there somewhere. Whether people are having them for sale or they're simply for free out on the internet. And sometimes just having a random table can add a huge surreal element to the game. I'm thinking, for example, of the infamous Wand of Wonder in D&D. Is a classic surreal engine. Essentially, it's a giant
Yeah.
table of weird things that happen when you point this magic item, and that alone can provide you with a lot to go on, just in terms of just a riff off of this weird thing happens.
Right. Well, speaking of, do we want to take a peek at Steve's gift to the world today?
I think we should roll for it.
I think. Well, speaking of rolling for it, how did that come across? Yeah, okay, well, sort of like I wanted it to, but let's do it like this.
Kinda.
Oop, not like that. Like this. Steve was.
That's your outline, Troy.
Oh, that's my outline. Whoopsie poops. Let's share this screen instead. All right. Let's go back to there. Sorry, friends. You get to see our behind the scenes.
Right.
There we go. This'll do it. Good Lord. Just trying to get this screen share up is surreal. Steve put together a random surrealism table for us, which I think was a ton of fun. And I had mentioned it yesterday after some conversations with Devious. And yes, we work on Sundays. And Steve, you are so good at this stuff. Like, I mean, I just imagine that you've got a wealth of surreal or just resources in general, not just, focused on surreal, but floating around in your brain. But this is some great stuff. Like, so it's a D20 table. And Alex, do you have a D20 handy?
I do not, but I have an online dice roller handy.
Oh, let's do that. Yeah. I was thinking maybe we roll. And for some reason, all I have are D6s and D4s.
I rolled a banana peel.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, to interpret
It happens
that
to be the number 4.
Number 4 is one or more characters can only speak in rhyming couplets for the scene or until they succeed on a suitable resistance check. Otherwise, whatever they say sounds like gibberish.
Yep.
I love that. That is such a fun way to handle that.
I played characters where that's their whole shtick. I played Etrigan the Demon in a con game.
As anyone who's tried to play the demon, at a convention game knows.
Ooh, I found a D20. All right, I'm going to roll one now. And I rolled a 14. Everybody in chat, stops being difficult. I'm just kidding. The next character who moves along the ground must succeed on a DC 20 dodge check or fall into a hole that has appeared there. They suffer no damage, but the hole is 30 feet deep and DC 25 to climb out of it on their own.
DC 25 is so high, Steve.
That is so high.
That's kind of intentional. On their own, they're supposed to get help.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I did see some mention. Sorry to interrupt our roles here, but the flaming carrot.
Mm-hmm.
I am not exposed to these things. I am so unsure of what that could even be. So that is what, from the 60s?
70s, I think.
70s? Okay.
I know Flaming Carrot was around in the 70s and 80s when I was reading comics.
I love that. Okay. I'll have to dig into it. It sounds
This is a
surreal.
man who is a carrot. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You see it? The man who is a carrot?
And he's got flippers. What has he got flippers for feet? What the fuck? Sorry.
Uh-oh, we spent our budget. Rebellious Moose, yes, that is a very slippery hole. Yeah. And let me I'm gonna roll another one here. Oh. Okay. A random character sneezes, and all characters in a 30-foot long wide cone in front of them must succeed on a DC 20 dodge check or be knocked prone by the blast of wind. The character who sneezes can produce this effect one more time deliberately if they wish, as a standard action on their next turn. Okay, that's clever because it introduces something that is problematic, but it also gives them a little bonus.
Right.
Kind of.
I generally like to do that sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's great. It's a little ridiculousness and sort of surprise, and then also, sure, now you have a little sneeze in your pocket that you can use whenever you like.
Right.
Flaming Carrot wears flippers in case he has to swim after criminals.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. What's interesting too, because I think of the comedy stylings of Carrot Top, and always kind of strikes me as a little surreal, a little surrealist prop work. One of those results is a random object just falling onto someone's head, but only causing pain and not damage. Oh, I
I
see.
I have one. It does do damage though. Although there's also one on the table where you get hit by a freight train, but it doesn't kill you.
Yes, that was
It only
great.
knocks you. It only knocks you down.
I love that. My probably my favorite is a random character gains the ability to use an energy ranged damage effect at the series power level for the rest of the scene, but they have to say pew 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 out loud and make finger guns to use it. That's really
Yep.
fun.
And I would make the player do it.
Oh yeah, this is fun too. And yeah, they have to.
Yep.
Stan mentions that contagious yawn would be a good result on that table.
Yes.
Yeah, super
True.
fun. So we will make that available through
Yawn
the
is not
tank. I think.
contagious. It's a sign you're a psychopath.
So
Is that
so they tell
true?
me.
That's
Yeah,
what they tell me
they say
too.
the reason that yawns are sympathetic is because of human empathy, and that
Oh.
if somebody yawning doesn't make you yawn, you have no empathy.
Yeah, and it gets me every time. But I'm yeah. Have you ever tried to fight a contagious yawn? It's really it's a challenge. It's a
I
challenge.
don't anymore because I know what it implicates.
Right.
Right. You don't want to.
Alex
Yeah.
knows the cheat code now.
I'm trying so hard to be. Yeah. I love that.
I can't let the mask slip off for that. It's got to be for
right.
something important, right?
Yeah, exactly. Interesting subject. I remain staunchly converted that there is some room in Mutants and Masterminds and comic books and heroes in general for some surrealism and again maybe I've just not really I broadened my understanding of what surrealism means, which is great. Super excited about the random surrealism table. So thank you for that, Steve.
Yeah. And thank you,
yeah.
Tempo, for the subject.
Yeah, absolutely, Tempo. Thank you. You broadened my horizons, and I appreciate it. And really appreciate everyone in chat as well. We are now 5 minutes away, or less than 5 minutes away from the end of the program. Hey, Alex, what's cooking in your world?
It's all Gen Con prep all the time right now.
Right.
Oh yeah. You got some big games running?
Just 3, but we have lots of cool miniatures that are in the works right now, thanks to Paul Rua and my brother's 3D printer and painting skills.
Nice. Yeah.
Let me see. I might be able to share one real quick. I have a cool. He did a freehand Raven symbol, and he said, "Whoever invented Raven symbol, I want to have words with you."
Nice. And then, are you? What do you have planned for this evening? Are you?
I do have. I think we're going. So I was supposed to have a one shot tonight, but it was canceled during M&M Monday. So I think we're going to be playing Spider-Man 2 tonight because I want to jump into that and do some this is how I would do this scene in Mutants Masterminds work.
Nice. All right. So office hours tonight, hanging out over on your channel in about an hour. Yeah.
About 30 minutes. Yep.
About 30 minutes. Okay. Gotcha. Fantastic. And Steve, what's happening in the Steve Kenson cinematic universe?
Well, in addition to writing up random tables of surrealistic effects, I have been working my way through Alex's development notes for the Masterminds manual.
Yeah.
And working on getting there we go. There's Raven. Getting a final version of that text together.
Nice.
For production. And then it will be back onto all of the other various projects and products for the M&M 4th Edition Kickstarter to get things up together as we are hurtling into the fall as summer is passing by increasingly quickly.
Yeah, absolutely are. And I also want to encourage, if folks are, Paul Rua is just masterful at working with
the Wizard of Hero Forge.
Hero Forge, yeah. And has done.
This is what they look like when you print them out.
I love that. That's fantastic. So that's he made them, and then you printed out the STL on a STL
3D. Yep, to print on a 3D printer, and then my brother's been painting them. So.
Oh, that's so cool. So, Paul, is this the first time you've seen your work, your handiwork, translated into the real world?
physical objects. Yeah.
We were, as part of the Cape and Cal Club, we have regular meetings, and we had a development meeting where we revealed the Steve, Alex, and disembodied Troy Hero Forge figures, which looked fantastic, and it was a lot of fun. But that's great, Paul. That's fantastic, and how cool! They look really, really great. Are they pretty light, Alex? Are they?
Yeah. They're made out of resin.
So
nice, excellent. And then I'm trying to get a sense of how big are those. Those are on the. Are those kind of the standard issue?
Yeah, they're kind of like 2-3 inches tall.
Yeah,
nice. That's great.
28 millimeter scale, right?
I think that's how big they are. Yeah. I don't know what 28 millimeters translates into freedom units, but
also just eminently portable.
Oh yeah. I have a box that I bring them all in.
I know. When I saw it last year, I thought, "Was there cookies in there?" But these were just as cool, just not as delicious. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for hanging out and having this conversation about surrealism with us. We've got Devious up next to tell us what's going on in the tank, and our thanks to Chad as well for being so engaged on the subject. We do appreciate it, and guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Ciao. Hey, friends, join the grad, won't you? It's our official Discord server. We've got all manner of things going on and being planned to release. We have got staff. We've got members of the Green Running development team. You've got community leaders, all of them hanging out in the grad. And you can do that by going to greenroan.in/Discord, and you will arrive. We are quickly running out of July. I can't believe it's already the 20th. That means just a couple weeks, and we're moving into August, as Steve said, hurtling into fall. Lots of things going on, not the least of which currently working with the Cape and Cal Club to test a certain mastermind maker. They're actively using it right now, which means it's just around the corner. I might, if I were you, prepare yourself for perhaps the 27th. I don't know. Or maybe I do and I'm not telling. Let's see. Next Thursday, you can hang out with me, get tanked with Troy at office hours. It's my official kind of hangout when people can come and tell me, hey, you've forgotten this. Or, hey, have you ever thought about this? And it's a lovely group of people. We hang out. And sometimes it starts at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern, rather, but can continue for a long, long time. Hours and hours even. And you can get there by going to atomicthinktank.com. You'll find all kinds of good stuff. If you're a fan of Green Ronin stuff, you will be a fan of all the information that you find in the Think Tank, including the surreal table that Steve created, the random roll table for surreal moments in your game. And I'll put that up after the show. But right now, we've got other work to do because Devious Hearts is here to tell us what is in the tank. Hello, my friend.
Good evening. How goes it?
How are you? Are you there?
Are you? Yeah, I'm here. Can you not hear me?
You're just a little quiet from me anyway.
Oh, weird. All right. Well, let me.
There we go. Hi.
Hi. How's it going?
It's going well. It's very not surreal day.
I understand. It is a very blue fish in the pimento loaf kind of day. Yes. Anyway. Indeed. Well, what, Troy, is in the tank? Let me tell you what is in the tank.
Please do.
We have Peyton Fletcher, who is also known as Damaged Glasses, has started doing kind of like a brainstorm kind of thing, building Patchland, and he's doing a series of it where he's talking about, basically the world that he's creating. He has done a series of articles, 3 so far. Is a little creative quarter where he'll be doing a weekly series of articles, taking time to talk about his ideas and brainstorming. He's done in the past week.
Fantastic.
Heroic Adventures. I have...
I didn't realize that Peyton was broken glasses or damaged glasses. I did not.
That is he.
Nice.
So,
all right.
The next thing up for the bid on The Price is Right would be, it came from public domain. Paul Rua has blessed us with an article on those fellows who are in the public domain, Of course, I don't know if he mentioned my favorite character, the Red Bee, and his sidekick, the Bee Michael, that he keeps in his belt buckle.
His partner pal B.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
trained bee, Michael.
Nice.
So anyway, I've also done an
Michael.
article on running thin on hair points and trying Devil's Bargain. It's a mechanic that's in Blades in the Dark, and basically how to implement it into Mutants and Masterminds for folks. As far as the Aegis, also, it's pretty good week there in the Freedom City Library. But in the Aegis files,
Yeah.
Chris Davies is on fire. Someone needs to call the fire department and put him out. He is. Stop, drop, and roll, Chris Davies, please, for the love of Jesus. So we have, of course, today's Mondays, Surrealism and Supers. We have office hours a little bit later with Spider-Man 2. Totally knew that was coming and didn't scramble to get that updated just when he mentioned that in the final, moments of the thing. But we do have Chrono Crisis coming up on Wednesday. Episode 9 Against the Clock. We also have, of course, office hours on Thursday. Come on by, folks. We'd love to talk with you. And that is it. That's what's in the tank.
The tank is full of great things for you to come check out, including, heroes, and the library is meant for you to actually check some stuff out.
The tank runneth over.
It does, and it's all there for you. All you have to do is sign up, which you just head over to atomicthinktank.com.
Yeah.
You answer 3 very simple questions, only one of which is really that important. And when you do, you unlock a wealth of resources and connection and community and all kinds of good stuff, and it's a blast.
Right, and
so
all the
check it out.
The Freedom City Library and the Aegis Files, it's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. It's all participatory.
That's absolutely right.
It's all fueled by the imaginations of the community. So get in there, read, take a look, lurk if you want, but there's a lot of great resources in there, or contribute, right, if you want to. Either way.
Absolutely. Looking for people to write articles and sharing your expertise, or running down a kind of a niche subject that's you're passionate about. All kinds of great opportunities. And Devious, thank you, my friend, for sharing and keeping us abreast of all the cool things in the tank. I appreciate it. And I think there's only one thing left to do.
What's that?
It's to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Ciao.
Yeah.